driven by one thing: a desire to be of service to others. And that drive has led Daniel Jolly into a career as a dentist, an educator, a highly sought-after consultant, even into the field of forensic dentistry for the coroners of both Franklin and Licking counties. So in this segment, sponsored today by Marquis Who's Who, I'm happy to have Dr. Jolly join me on this set. Good to meet you.
Good afternoon. Good to be here.
All right. So what a resume you have built. I mean, just reading about all the things you've done, I want to go back into the beginning. We talk about you wanting to be of service, right? Where did that drive come from? When did you know this was going to be your path?
Oh, I think childhood. I mean, a matter of the golden rule, do unto others, and kind of that service thing was built into me as I grew up. And dentistry just kind of came to me through family pressures or family suggestions, and that's how I ended up with dentistry.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed it thoroughly for freaking 50 years now. And the focus within that career has been special needs, hospitals, handicapped elderly patients, medical problem patients, and evolved over time into involving a lot of forensics, which is a real puzzle solving kind of a aspect, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot challenging, but it's a lot of fun.
And that's the thing, is you didn't just take general dentistry and kind of go with that. You have gone in so many different directions, and I think in a lot of ways in areas that there aren't a lot of people skilled in that, right? I mean, is that kind of what led you to these different pathways of dentistry?
Well, I think the Robert Frost poem about taking the road less traveled, I think that's something that stuck with me for a long, long time, and certainly special needs and medical problem patients are very few of us really focus with that skill on those people and special needs and forensics. There's a relatively few hundred people in the country that do forensic dentistry on any kind of a regular basis.
Right.
It's not a full-time kind of a job, but it's a very specialized career as you're trying to figure out who's who and what's going on with an individual, who we can tie them to and match up families and people that have passed and may not normally be recognizable. So,
and I think it's an intriguing field because we often hear, right, they are waiting for their dental records to be identified. I mean, that is how many bodies, right, get identified. And you have done some very significant situations that the country knows about, right? You have been consulted for 9/11, for example, right? What are some of the things that you have helped with that we know about?
Well, certainly I was in New York City after 9/11 with the forensic dental team there at the New York City office of the chief medical examiner, and that was extremely emotional. I still have. There's sort of a PTSD component to that as well. And that was challenging as you're identifying police officers or other victims and trying to get them repatriated back to families. My first big forensic experience was the hotel that collapsed in Kansas City, because that's where I was training and working at the time. Back in 1980, the Hyatt Regency was a structural collapse, and several hundred people, including a doctor, a good friend of mine, was killed in that. And other than that, it's just been as the coroners have needed to find identification of people that are brought to them. And that's where I've been able to fill a pretty good role that finalizes a lot of things for the families.
Yeah, I think it is almost, maybe not bittersweet in that way, but being able to give families closure is probably an aspect of that at least gives you some relief at the end of a job that was a pretty tough one.
Yes.
All right, Dr. Jolly, the other thing that you do now is you consult a lot for Medicaid, and I feel like, you know, there are a lot of challenges with that population, right? Are you seeing things come a long way when it comes to dental and Medicaid, or are there still a lot of challenges?
Dental services have always been a small part, a weak part of the Medicaid system, a very small part of the budget.
Sure.
But yet a very important one that a lot of people, you know, can't access care as easily with a dentist. And that has been something that we've struggled with in terms of improving reimbursement rates, which are pretty abysmal compared to what people might think, what things we can cover and approve for people, as opposed to what a private insurance company would do. So we're trying to balance providing care, keeping people pain and infection free and functional, aesthetically and otherwise.
Sure.
So that's a big thing, trying to balance as I determine what we can and can't do for a wide swath of Medicaid recipients in Ohio.
Yeah, we often hear, right, oral health is health, and yet it seems to be often the one left behind. So.
It is, yeah, and there's a huge fear of dentistry, and it's funny that, because I did for the longest time a lot of work in Honduras, missionary type work. We set up some programs down there, and small, out of the way little places, people that had never seen or probably even heard of a dentist, never had the media, and yet their fear of dentistry was interesting because they hadn't had that barrage that we see here all the time about it. And that was really rewarding, to bring care to people that didn't have it and never would, you know, in their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
So that missionary approach was really a lot of fun, and our legacy still lives on down there in a clinic in Honduras, and that is really nice to know.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, and I want to mention, because you were on the Marquis Who's Who list, that means you've made significant impacts, obviously, in your chosen field, and that is very clear. So there's a lot that you've done, a lot people can look into, and I know you have your own website, right? Can our folks go and just kind of read about what you do and the impact you made?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, it's just your name, correct?
DanielLeeJolly.com, yes.
Okay, all right, very easy to do. It has been incredible to learn all about this. Congrats on all the achievements.
Well, thank you. It's been a lot of fun over my life, yes, so I've enjoyed it.
Perfect. All right, Dr. Jolly.